Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Brokerpreneur podcast. I am Dr. Ben Spears, the ambassador of Flow, the CSO, you might say,
right.
Chief Smooth Operator. I'm here with the big guy and Fabio's #1 fan.
Okay.
Just had to go to the last podcast, guys. Fabio's #1 fan. I'm here, Matt Vi. What's up, Matt?
What's up, Ben? How are you?
Yeah. I'm doing great.
Yeah, I see. On the attack early in the podcast.
Yeah, I went straight for the jugular.
As would Fabio.
Yeah, as would Fabio. So, Matt, you know,
Not to be confused with Fazio, the guy from the Muppets.
No, that's just Fozzie.
Yeah, Fazio.
Fozzie the bear.
Right. I was just extrapolating the Fazio.
The Italian version.
Right. Fazio.
There was a restaurant in St. Louis called Fuzio's.
Fuzios.
And it was in the middle of the mall. And when I mean the middle of the mall, I mean it was open to the mall. The whole restaurant was tables in like the aisle of the mall. And, you know, kitchen, everything was there. And they had this dish. And every time that my wife, you know, we were just dating at the time, would come visit me, we would go to Fuzio's, and they had this dish, and it was just called mac and cheese. Yeah. You know, and it had like blackened chicken, you know, mixed in it. The best.
Oh, yeah.
Mac and cheese, you know, with this chicken that you have ever even thought of. You know, the closest place that makes a good version of it is Whiskey Joe's on the Causeway.
Really?
They make this, same thing. You can get black and you can get all different kinds of like meat or different types of chicken. The black chicken, it is just like so good. It's not even funny. But even that fails to compare to Fuzio's.
Right. So there was a place in Savannah.
Yeah.
And so one of the companies that I work for, you know, the home office was right down the street from it, and I'd always love going to the managers meeting because if I had a chance to cut out for lunch. Oh, I don't remember the name of you know how I am with names. I don't remember the name of the place, but they had a Chicago sweet sausage pasta.
Oh man.
And it was a vodka sauce. So it was the half cream, half marinara sauce with sweet sausage chunks over angel hair, and it had like chopped up vegetables in it, right? And it wasn't like a ton of vegetables, but it was in everything, and it was just the sausage was just a little bit spicy.
Yeah.
It was a big freaking bowl. And the night before, I would skip eating dinner
to make room
hoping that I could go to lunch there.
Yeah.
It was just so good. And I'm not a breakfast person, so I'd go there as hungry as I could be because you can't take it home. It ain't the same.
Yeah. And you're going to eat it all.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's going to be nothing to take home. Well, now I know that we need to make a trip to Savannah just so I can try that.
Oh, it's so good.
I like sausage.
Oh, man, yeah, it's so good. Especially the sweet Chicago-style sausage, man. That was just so good.
Yeah. Well, that's enough for this podcast, honestly. But we're going to talk. We're going to talk, you know, some real estate stuff too, guys. And I'm going to throw out the topic today.
Right.
We're specifically going to be talking about, does your staff suck at what they do?
Nah, I love it.
But before we do that, wherever you're listening, hit that follow, that subscribe button. There's no better time than the present than to go to Prospect Boomerang and check out, you know, all the cool things that we have going on in our business. And click on podcast at the top. It takes you to brokerpreneurpodcast.com. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. I put my heart and soul into that just to make sure that, you know, even on top of this podcast, Matt and I are providing as much value as possible to your lives, you know, in hopes that you use it to grow your business.
Absolutely. We want you to grow. We want you to win.
Yeah. So, Matt, staff.
Yep.
Just because they're good at some stuff doesn't mean that they're good at everything.
Right.
Phone's ringing.
Right.
Your phone's ringing.
I'm not going to answer it. We're in a podcast.
I didn't know. So I can hear it vibrating in my headphones. But
hang on just a second. I'm going to get my car warranty real quick.
Yeah, exactly. My health insurance quote.
Right.
Just because they're good at something doesn't mean that they're great at everything.
Right. Right.
Right. So let's expand on that just a little bit.
Yeah, right. So we did that one thing for Dot Loop, right? And it talked
Yep.
about the difference between, managers being retention managers and recruiting managers. Okay. They don't have to be good at everything, right? We know that.
Of course.
But
No one will.
that's exactly right.
Yep.
And you want them to lean into certain parts of their job. But are you expecting people to be good at everything, wearing all the hats, and then as the broker owner, if that's who you are, pissed because they're not recruiting enough?
Yeah.
When the truth is, I mean, let's be honest. Most of the time, you knew they weren't gonna.
Oh yeah. Day
Right?
one.
Yeah,
Day one.
right. Everybody promises. Oh no, I'm going to come in and I'm going to kill it and I'm going to recruit and I'm going to do great.
I sold so many homes.
That's right. Or you hire them from somewhere else, and the place that you hired them from, they weren't killing it there.
Yeah.
What makes you think they're going to kill it where they're moving to?
Or
right?
maybe they were killing it, but that they were paying $5,000 every agent that came through the door.
Just to get them to walk in the door. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to look at what they're good at, and is that really what you expected them to be good at?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's okay if they're not good at all of it, but you can't be pissed at them when they're not good at it.
Gotcha.
So if you've hired someone to be a recruiter, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
You hired someone to be a recruiter, they better be good at it. That is their job.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Right. But if you've hired them to wear 36 hats and they're not recruiting really well, let's start off by saying you need to take a close look, and we'll dig into this in just a second about what you really need to look at. You need to take a close look at the expectations that you set, and who did you hire and why did you really hire that person? And are they able to perform at the level that you need to? Don't just be mad now because you all of a sudden need more people, but in the beginning you hired somebody that's not really what they were good at.
Yeah. And once you look at them, it is really easy. Like when you're like, gosh, they're just not recruiting. Mm-hmm. They're not doing what it is that I should be doing. And I want to pre-frame a little bit of this as well, in a sense of, yes, we're going down a path right now of, you're a broker owner, you've hired some recruiting managers or that kind of thing. Some people, they are the owner.
Right.
And they are the recruiter.
Oh yeah, all the hats.
Yeah, and they wear all the hats. That doesn't mean go fire yourself.
Right.
Right. If you're not any good at recruiting.
Right.
Maybe find somebody who's good.
Absolutely.
And supplement yourself.
Right.
But
get them to focus on a certain piece of it.
Yeah. But of course, if that's the case, you're keeping yourself because you have to. You are your company essentially. But a lot of people say, well, gosh, they're not doing what I hired them to do, but they're still hanging on to them just because it's convenient.
Yep.
Or they like them.
Yeah. So let's just be, and you don't have to act on this, okay? But I'm just going to throw this out there, right?
Yeah, I'll act on it.
No, you can't, because I'm talking about the owners of the companies. We're not
I know,
telling
but
them.
I was
You're just going to send out pink noses to everybody?
Yeah.
Fired. You're fired. And you're fired. Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's fired.
Everybody gets pink slip.
Right. So, okay. So are you keeping them because you hate the job that they're doing?
Yes.
Meaning, would you hate to have to do it if you don't have them anymore?
Yes.
Is that part of the reason why you're keeping that person in that position? Are you thinking to yourself, man, if I get rid of them, I'm going to lose some of the agents that I have? And remind me to talk about that for just a second, in just a second.
Okay.
Okay. So am I worried that I'm going to lose some agents because of that? And I don't want to do that job.
Yeah.
I've already been a manager. I'm not cut out for it. I love this part of my job and not that. I'm the broker owner, but I don't have time to manage that individual office. Or is part of the reason why you're keeping them because it is convenient for you to not have to do their job?
Yeah. And it's easier to point that way.
It is.
Than it is this way.
Absolutely. And if it is, we're not trying to, this is the joke that we just made about pink slips. We're not trying to convince you to start slinging pink slips at everybody.
Yep.
But you need to get over that shit.
Mm-hmm.
If you're holding on to someone because you don't want to do that job, that is not a healthy place for you and your business.
Yeah,
you need to start looking at other people. You need to start looking at other options, dividing up the job between several people. You need to not put yourself in the situation where you're stuck with somebody just out of convenience. And let me put it in a different context, right?
Sure thing.
I don't think anybody's happy in a marriage that they're just staying there out of convenience.
Right.
That's not the way that works. You're not happy in a relationship because it's a convenient relationship. You want to love that person. You want to love what they bring to the situation. You want to love them for who they are. All those different things have to be in place in a healthy relationship with a manager, not just in a marriage.
Yeah.
So you have to not be holding on to them just out of convenience. If you are, that is dangerous and that is unhealthy, and you need to start making a different plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
And part of that, very similar to like, I know when you got married, when I got married, we had a very formalized job description that we handed
Absolutely
to Jamise and Tammy. We
Right.
were like, this is what I'm expecting.
Which effectively my wife ripped up and went,
and it disappeared.
and it does disappear.
It didn't just blow all over the place. Somehow that shit disappeared.
Right. Magically.
Yes. But in this situation, you need
That's
to
right.
have, and we'll segue this into like some formalized training, right?
Right.
Because not everybody just comes in, even though there's a
Right.
job description being
Right.
perfect at what you
Right.
want them to do. You need to have a job description, and then you need to look, if you already have one, and you need to say, am I holding that person to that job description? Before we talk about that, if you wanted to expand a little bit, because I forgot,
Yeah.
you want to talk about losing agents, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. So okay, so if you're a broker owner and
Yes.
you own a company and you're telling the manager that the manager is the most important thing in the relationship between the agent and the company, and you're building them up to be everything that the agent loves about the company,
Yeah.
you're making a mistake.
Yeah.
The manager has to be the one that manages the relationship between the company and the agent and the company.
Yeah.
You want the agents to love that manager,
Right.
but they also have to love that company.
Yeah.
You don't ever want the entire situation to be the manager is who they love so much that you become held hostage as the owner of the company by someone that no longer fits. Because here's what's going to happen. They're going to get unhappy, or they're going to start doing some math, or they're going to start wanting to do something different, or some of the agents are going to get together and say, hey, why don't you come work over here and we're going to pay you this amount and whatever.
Right.
And the next thing you know, half the office leaves along with your manager, and then you're really in a bad situation. Mm-hmm. You want them to love your manager. You want them to appreciate the manager, but the manager is there to do exactly that, to manage the relationship between them. Yeah. Do not allow the manager to become the CEO of that branch. That is absolutely a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do a podcast on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That actually sounds like a really cool topic.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that job description.
Yep.
And determining how you hold someone to that, because it's really easy to get lost in real estate and say, well, look, I get it, right? It's been a crazy month.
Yep.
Right. I'm gonna cut them some slack.
Right.
And that's okay, right? Cut them some slack every now and then if you need to, but don't cut them too much slack,
right,
that they feel like, oh, I can just.
Yeah. My whole job is slack.
Yeah, my whole job is not recruiting anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It's
not doing anything except what I'm good at, which is having agents fall in love with me.
Yeah.
Horrible, right?
Hey guys, this podcast is powered by Prospect Boomerang.
We all know broker owners struggle with profitability. Prospect Boomerang compounds your profits by recruiting the best agents to your brokerage.
For consistent growth, visit prospectboomerang.com.
Okay. So look at it like this. Mm-hmm. There is a tendency that we want them to be the person that is just the one that's the catch-all for that office.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they're there every day, especially if you have multiple offices, all that kind of stuff. They're the person that's kind of just getting all of that.
Yeah.
Right. So what we have to do is we have to make sure that we understand that we're not setting them up for failure. Mm-hmm. Okay. Here's what big picture what I mean by that. Right. So let's say that the business breaks down into 4 components.
Okay.
Okay. Because it does. Whole different conversation.
Right.
Let's say it's sales. Let's say it's marketing. Let's say it's finance, and let's say it's legal and compliance and the things that are different trade to trade. 20% is different trade to trade. Okay. Those are the 4 pieces of the business. The people that excel in those different pieces have different primary personality traits. They have different skill sets. If your job description means that they have to cover all of those things, you're setting them up for failure.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you have to do is you have to pick out the pieces and parts that are really the most important pieces and parts of what you need to have done in your branch that can't be done by someone else.
Okay.
And that's how you put together your job description. And then you're going to be able to hire to that job. And you're going to be able to hire to a personality and to characteristic traits that are to that job, instead of having a job that just covers everything and you're hoping that the person that you get can actually do all 98 of those things. Okay?
Yep.
That's not what we want to do, because it's hard to hold that person accountable, because you're having a conversation with them about being accountable and they're saying, oh yeah, well, I did coaching and I did the training and I also made sure that I reviewed all the contracts and I also make sure that all the financial stuff is the same, and I also make sure that all the bills were set up to be paid so that they were whatever, and I also made sure the property manager was this and this and this and this and this. And then you ask them, oh, by the way, did you recruit? And they're like, oh, I didn't have time. What are you going to say? Oh my God, you took care of everything else and you didn't get that one thing done, you're fired. Right? That's not how most people look at it. They appreciate all the other things that person has done, especially if they're excelling in all those. Well, that's a problem. That means that person is doing too much. And if your staff, if you're looking at them and you're like, man, you guys really suck, right? Collectively, y'all are horrible. If you're looking at your staff and you're saying that, is that in part because the expectations, the job description, what it is that you're asking them is not really what their skill set when they were hired really matches? Did you set them up to fail? If you did, you earn it, you owe it to yourself, and they have earned the right for you to make adjustments and allow them the chance to succeed the way that you need them to succeed.
Yeah.
And you got to hold them accountable to it. If you want them to hold their agents accountable, you have to be holding them accountable.
Yeah. So if you have a smaller office, right, and I don't want to dive deep into this, but if you have a smaller office and you're like, it's just me and I got like 5 agents and, maybe there's like, one admin, answering the phones or something like that, a couple hours a day or something like that. You have this laundry list of different like things that like, man, I could use help with this. I could use help with that. I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, or I just don't flat out want to do it.
Right.
How do you pick that? It's really easy to choose somebody, interview them, and be like, I'm just going to put all that.
Right.
I'm going to put all that on.
Which happens all the time.
Yeah. How do you define? Do you just say these are the things that I have a list of 10 things that I don't like to do, and I just need to find somebody that, can do the top 5 and I'll still do the other 5, versus just saying like, here, all 10 of these are yours now. How do you go about that process? I don't even know the question that I'm even asking.
Yeah, I do.
But you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah. So here's what happens, and this is why you have to avoid it. Okay. So what happens is you see the things that aren't getting done, and you say, I need this group of things done. And then you put a job out there and you start interviewing people, and somebody comes up and says, oh yeah, well, I've done this and this in the past, and I've done some of this and I've done some of that. And you're like, holy crap. Not only can they do these things, but they can also do all these other things that they're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you have this mashed up version of what a job description actually is.
Yeah.
You have this mashed up version, and some of it personality wise doesn't fit. Right. So nobody comes to a job interview and says, they did in the movie Ted, right? Isn't that the one with
with the bear?
With the bear. Yeah. Don't watch that one, everybody. I shouldn't even mention that movie. The movie's horribly funny, but just don't go watch it. So he's in a job interview and he's trying to do everything he can to not get hired. Right.
Right.
Nobody does that.
Yeah.
They come in and they talk about what they can do and what they can add. And yes, I've got what you're saying and I understand and I've done that in the past, but I also bring this to the table. And everybody's just like honeymooning for a minute there and they're going, oh my gosh, this is great. Especially when it comes to a manager. Because anytime someone is taking on the job of a manager, they automatically understand there is your responsibilities and then there's the shit that happens.
Yeah.
They know that those two things are, and the person that's hiring them knows that those things are in place. That's how it's going to go. You hope that they get to spend 80% of their day on the things they're supposed to do and 20% on the things that blow up in their face. Right. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're picking things that are a priority for you to get done. There are high priority things that have to be done by certain people, and there are other priority things that can be done by someone else. Let me give you an example. Making sure your bills are paid on time, making sure that invoices are submitted properly, making sure that the recruiting is done, and all of these other things that have to happen. Those are absolutely a priority. You know what else is a priority? Answering a telephone when it rings.
Yeah.
That's a priority as well. Okay? That priority doesn't have to be done by the same person.
Right.
Okay? So understanding how to prioritize the different pieces of this is going to make a big difference in how you put your job description together and how you can hold someone accountable. So here's a real easy thing. We've got a really cool action item. This is another action item, but same but different, right? So take all the things that you need done, and you're gonna just take an Excel spreadsheet. Column A, you're just going to write down all the things that need to be done as a manager. Okay. Column B is you're going to put the priority on a scale of 1 to 3. Okay. 1 can be the high, 1 can be the low. It doesn't matter, right? 1 to 3.
Yep.
How much of it is of a priority is it to be done? Period.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's 2 more columns. So you have a total of 4 columns. Okay. The one job description thing that has to be done, the priority on a scale of 1 to 3. The next one is what is the primary personality type that would be good at it. And the next one is the secondary personality type that would be good at it. Okay.
Okay.
So what that means, just use the DISC program as an example, right? So maybe it's a driver and an influencer are you've got a certain thing, and then it's a priority 2, and then a driver and an influencer, the ones that would be great at it. You go through everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Then you take the things that are a priority and that are certain personality traits that match or that mesh. You follow me?
Yep.
So you group your D's together and you group your I's together. Even if D is the first one on some and D is the second one on others, you group those together, right?
Right.
You create your job description from that.
Okay.
The highest priority, and make the groups of the personalities that are supposed to be together and hire to that. And you're going to have, your staff is going to be exponentially more successful. As an example, if reviewing files is something that you have a staff person doing,
Yep.
but recruiting is something that you want your manager doing, and that is the top priority on that, then maybe you need someone that is an influencer or driver, because that's how you want to recruit, right?
Yeah.
So that you're going to be looking for other characteristics in that person's job description that are that I and that D.
Gotcha.
That have either the I or have either the D in the description on those other 2. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. If it's going to take you, sit down, spend a couple of hours, right, before you watch your college football game on the weekend, right? We're not gonna, right?
Absolutely.
Spend a couple of hours, write it all down, come back and look at it the next day. 2 days later, come back and look at it again. Refine it, get it better. Once you have it, do not allow, if you already have staff in place, do not allow their personality characteristics to influence how you mark those personalities on there, whether they're driver, influencer, right, or conscientious or whatever. They're sensitive or conscientious. You don't want those on there because of the people you currently have on staff. You want them on there because it's the way you want that job handled.
Gotcha.
You follow me?
Absolutely.
Now you take all of that job description and you put it together and you create your manager and you create your administrative staff and you create your operations person and you create your marketing team and you create the relocation and all these kind of things. And so now you have all of this broken down in a way that when you go to hire someone and you have them take that personality test, you can see who's going to be a good match, and it's going to be so much easier to hold them accountable to what's going on, because it's things that you hired the right person that automatically is going to enjoy doing those things because it's what makes them them.
Yep. No, I love that.
Does that make sense?
Yep. That's a good action item, and I'm going to make you give us another one here in just a second.
Yep.
Guys, wherever you're listening to this, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, any of those platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button, that bell right beside it, you get notified every time we drop a new episode. Guys, go to Brokerpreneur Podcast. All of our episodes are there with a few other goodies. Right now, I know we have the 3 ways to scale your recruiting on there. It's absolutely free. Also, you can sign up for our weekly newsletter and just get some really cool recruiting stuff every single week, along with some just cool brokerage articles, things that you can share with recruits, agents that you have, and maybe just learn a little bit more to make yourself a better broker, manager, owner, recruiter, whatever. And whatever you are, right? Know who you are. We talk about it all the time.
Absolutely, because it's so critical.
That's right. But Matt,
yeah,
they're going there right now. And they're doing all those things. Like they're just like, everything Ben says, I got to do it.
Right.
Let's give them an action item that they can listen to while they're doing all those things that I said.
So let's figure out if they suck or not. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 on their attitude, on their effort, on their skill set, on their work product, and their cultural fit of the office.
Yeah.
Okay. Rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 on attitude, effort, skill set, work product, and cultural fit.
And that's your staff.
That's your staff.
Yep.
That's your managers. That's your staff. That's everybody, right?
Yep.
Get an average score and be honest with yourself about all of this.
Yeah.
If they're below a 4, they're failing.
Yeah.
Right? If they're at a 3.75, all right, maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
But if they're below
Don't
a 4,
use decimals, guys. Matt does that
all the time.
Like, what are you, man? Scale of 1 to 5. I'm a 3.75. Like, just freaking pick a number. Just whole
I
numbers
do all the time. I can't.
Whole numbers, man.
I can't. I'm not wired that way.
I know you can't.
That's just not sinking.
You know what I do?
What do you do, Ben? Tell me.
I round down. Just whatever you pick, I just round down.
You done?
We'll see.
I think the answer is no. So you're going to rate them on attitude, effort, skill set, work product, and cultural fit. Whenever I say work product, what I mean is how well are they doing the job that you've described for them to do, right? Are they good at it?
Right.
Are they at where are they at? If they're below a 3.7, if they're below a 4,
yeah,
you either need to take work off of them, okay, figure out where the issue is, or you need to get rid of them.
Yeah,
they need to go. That doesn't mean walk in and fire your staff. What it means is start understanding the role they're supposed to have, start looking to hire to that role, and then make that transition.
Yeah. Is that like if they're less than a 4 in any of those categories, or as an average?
On average.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I didn't want somebody to have like a bunch of 5s.
Yeah.
And then get like a 3 on effort, and they're like, you're out.
Right. Yeah, you're done.
Even though that's an important one.
It is. And getting a 4 is not easy.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so notice that I said if they're less than that, you either need to adjust their job or get rid of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It's one or the other.
Yep.
And you can take a few things off of them that are going to boost that. You're going to or you're just going to say, hey, listen, this job isn't that hard. You should be able to do this. All of this matches. You've got that job description so that all the personality traits match. They're all a high priority of what you need to do. And you're looking at the person and they scored a 2.7864, right?
Yeah.
Then they got to go.
Yeah.
It's time for them to not be there anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, you know what job isn't hard?
What's that, Ben?
Sitting here talking real estate with Matt.
I know, right? I love talking real estate, real estate recruiting especially.
We just love doing this podcast so much. We're so grateful for everybody that listens, and we're going to keep doing it, and we hope that you just keep absolutely loving it and using this information to grow your business, because we do this podcast for one reason and one reason alone. Tell them why that is, man.
Because we just want to be part of their win.